Close calls on America's runways are landing under new scrutiny.
Are we emphasizing efficiency over safety?
Wednesday, the Federal Aviation Administration hosted a rare emergency safety summit, bringing together investigators and regulators, including Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
When you have this many things happening at once, it points to the need to make sure the whole system is strengthened.
Near collisions continue to climb nationwide, from Hawaii to the latest incident at Reagan National Airport outside Washington, D.C.
Oh, United 2003, Kansas takeoff clearance.
Reporting takeoff, United 2003.
The FAA is investigating a total of 7 dramatic runway incursions since the start of this year. In an exclusive interview, Buttigieg told me there is an uptick in incidents at airports.
What we're finding is that pilots, ground crews, and controllers alike seem to be experiencing this uptick. Some have described it as a kind of rust, but that needs to turn into a very concrete diagnosis and specific action steps.
Airlines insist safety is always their top priority, but labor unions say airlines are pushing the limits as they struggle to bounce back from the pandemic.
The data is right behind me. It's happening out there. These incidents, things that we've been talking about well over a year ago, are starting to show up on the flight deck and in operations.
So far, the FAA sees no apparent common trigger of these incidents, but the National Transportation Safety Board says change cannot wait for a cause.
What I want to see is action. Our whole goal at the NTSB is lives saved, and that has to be the focus.
Right now, the NTSB is not launching an investigation into that latest incident at Reagan National Airport. It happened last week, but is only coming to light just now. The head of the union representing air traffic controllers makes this one extra point as to the cause of these close calls. He says that air traffic control facilities like towers and other places are critically understaffed and puts the onus on the FAA and Congress to secure more money to hire more people. Jake.
All right, Pete Montine, thanks so much. Here to discuss, Mary Schiavo, a former Inspector General for the U.S. Transportation Department. Mary, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with the simple, most troubling question. Is it safe to fly?
Well, that was one of the topics at the conference today. And of course, the conclusion was it is safe to fly, but that was part of the problem. There was a consensus at the conference that complacency, because it's been so long since there was a major airline disaster, that people take safety for granted and everybody's gotten complacent and they just assume they can continue to stretch the rubber band and not think that it's going to break.
I guess that's what the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, was referring today, right, talking about this uptick in airline collisions, near collisions, to, in his words, he called it a kind of rust involving pilots and ground crews and controllers. Is there anything more specific to which this can be attributed?
Yeah, they actually came up with 5 factors today, and it sounded reasonable. Unfortunately, the ways to solve the problems are a little more difficult, but I call them the 5 C's. They said, of course, complacency. We've been safe, so we assume we're always going to be safe. COVID was one of the causes because that was where the rust came in. We all got rusty during COVID because air demand was significantly down. Churning. They said a lot of new people are coming into the system. A lot of these near misses, these collisions have been with newer people or small planes, big planes thrown into the mix. And they said, when you churn people around, they don't have the experience and the training. There was a big complaint about the equipment. They said equipment and parts and maintenance are not being timely performed, again, perhaps because of the shortage of staff, et cetera, but a real issue with the equipment out there. And finally, cash. There was a lot of complaint that they want more money, more employees, more controllers, more everything, but all those take time. In the meantime, the other problem was we have so much more traffic at a lot of bottlenecks, and I think the logical conclusion is some of those bottlenecks have to have relief. They can't have that much traffic.
The airline industry says there are 25,000 flights a day in the U.S. carrying 2.3 million passengers every day. There's always a chance of disruptions, of course, weather, computer problems, and other things. What does the airline industry need to do to improve?
Well, I think first and foremost is we have concentrated so much traffic in just today. The number they used was 35. I would say it's even fewer airports than that, into 35 airports. And we don't have some of the most modern equipment. For example, we have equipment that would give alerts to pilots if you're about to have a collision on the runway, but it's not mandatory and it's not widely available. The European Union is looking to put that in place. And then, finally, there is one common theme for all these near misses. And in almost every case, there's a communication error. There's confusion about the runways. And so you have to eliminate the confusion through training and better awareness. And finally, almost all of them, there's a human factor failure. So someone messed up. It wasn't usually equipment. So there are common themes, and those have to be fixed.
Yeah, my car is almost 7 years old, and it has a feature that alerts me if they think I'm going to hit the person in front of me. I would think that every airplane would have that.
Well, this is really interesting because that was one of the things the NTSB brought up today. They said, one of our recommendations is 23 years old. And I happen to remember that. I was in the department back then. They tested some of this equipment back in Dallas in 20 years ago. And it was doable back then. In about 2000, they tested it. And that was the equipment to give pilots the alert, just not air traffic controllers the alert. So, for example, if you're confused at the runway and you aren't getting the right communications, the controller, yelling, stop, abort, et cetera, isn't going to get through, where the new systems would actually give the alert to the pilots. And so there are many things on the horizon, but the trouble is we've got to get the equipment out there and working and have people trained on it.
Yeah, but the airlines aren't going to put it in unless it's required, I would think. Mary Schiavo, thank you so much.